Alright, we're going to be watching... Oh, Diamond 3, look at you, okay. Diamond 3 NA. Before we start, hey, look, you're bored. Before we start, what do you think you have to work on personally? What do you think you have to improve on as a player? Dude, whenever I do these like VOD reviews, I try not saying something I said in a previous VOD review because it gets like very repetitive. But then I'm kind of running out of things to say because a lot of people have like very similar issues. So yeah, I'm lost in the sauce. Don't know how to make decisive moves like you. Also get locked into Chines too much sometimes. My lane is probably the worst aspect. What runes do you... Oh, you go Spellbook? Well, you know, okay, number one, that's why. For the first 6 minutes of your life, you're going to be absolutely miserable. If you're going Spellbook, then you're probably playing for fun. Double down, spam ping your teammates to go here, and then portal over this wall. If your goal wasn't to invade, you know, then you want to always just hug this side of the wall. You want to hug the right side. So pretty much at exactly 25 seconds and like 115, right? There's going to be like a few Chines that spawn in a radius around Bard. You're the epicenter of the circle. Your Chines are going to spawn in this range. That's why I said to hug the right side. So it limits the possible range of the Chines to spawn closer to your lane, which helps you when you're going to go roam. Okay, pick that. Oh, this is a crazy invade angle. If you're going to like invade, try to always get vision of your own jungle first before you invade. If you go into their jungle and like someone spots you, like the top laner over here or something, then you can be sure the enemy's gonna be maybe trying to walk into your side. You might get reverse flanked on. I feel like right now is mostly because your team, like there was no clear pattern, right? There was no clear idea of what your team was gonna do. You just take control, right? Like you want to be the one calling stuff so that you can figure out where you have to pre-ward or like, you know, stand and stuff. But right now it's like everyone's kind of pinging after the fact, which isn't really the best. You should always have some kind of game plan, or at least like try to communicate that you're gonna have a game plan like the first 50 seconds before the walls despawn. You don't want to just kind of walk around and without really knowing what you're doing, so you can be caught out randomly. Alright, so what's the bot lane? It is Milio and Smolder. What a my god. These TFT5 costs in this game. My goodness. I consider a 2v2 at level 2 killable if you land 2 Qs. If you land 2 Qs, like damage-wise with Spellbook, before level 2, then it's actually killable. It's just like a small standard. 2 Qs equals pretty much 1 rune page, like a very rough conversion at the very early part of the game. Unless they have like some kind of healing immediately, then you should be like at least even. You're not going to be up for the most part in just laning in general, like unless the enemy is also going something dumb. You want to know your like trade and win conditions. Not just Spellbook, but if you're down in any rune, like for example, let's say you went Guardian, okay, just for argument's sake. If you went Guardian and then they proc Guardian very early on, when you go into the 2v2 fight, you have to consider the fact that you're down a rune page until that Guardian comes back up. You know what I mean? Always update your current amount of stats in terms of like numbers. So like if your Guardian rune page is like a +2 or something, then you're pretty much down -2 if you decide to fight without this rune page up. Just keep that in mind. There's like a very small angle where you can actually hit the Milio from here. You can hit Smolder as well, but there's also like a very sneaky Q angle right here. Like you want to be very flexible in your skill shot. The faster you learn this, the better it's going to be for you to climb, because like you're just going to hit a bunch of random BS Qs that like you just don't expect to happen. This was by far the perfect time to go for Q, because Milio's actually walking up. That small micro movement Milio is doing to walk up to like auto this minion. If you land a stun here, then you could actually just ult in, because Milio's gonna get hit by your Q, Jin's Q, his 4-shot, and then like you did so much combined burst damage that Smolder doesn't actually have enough burst to like deal damage to kill Jin back. So you actually might get an early flash or like at least chunk literally half of his HP right here. Whenever you're thinking that you're losing behind in like a laning phase, like 2v2, you have to know that all these small extra hits is gonna matter a lot in the end. So that means you have to be very sneaky with how you use every single skill shot. You want to be very creative with how you use your spells. Either you land your Q and like it's great, or if you miss your Q, like if you just botch your Q entirely and it hits 2 minions, that's still a faster push. Like this thing's gonna push a bit faster and you're gonna get level 2 power a bit faster. Just go for it, right? Like you can only learn these angles if you decide to test them out yourself. I really like how you like digit and power auto attack followed by Q, but the timing of when you went for that though is a bit weird. Whenever you're playing early laning phase, like level 1, level 2 especially, you want to have like a small mini game of every single time you think the enemy's gonna walk up for farm, you want to be within range to hit them. Every single time. Like this actually comes if you know how to play ADC. You're kind of scared of the enemy's ADC attacking you as well. Like it's just like a natural thing. Especially as support, because you don't have to focus on farming. I want you, whenever the enemy is going up for any farm, at least be somewhat in range, okay? Like right now, you're this far away from being in the potential range to do damage. And like when I say you should be in range, like I'm not saying that you should always go for the auto attack, because if you go too far past this point, the minions are going to focus you and like now you take a bit more damage, but should be in position. Right now, you're playing way too safe. You're playing way too far. I want you to be like here, right? Which it comes with a lot of practice. Obviously, you have to know their ranges. You have to know, like, you know, for example, it's like a Nautilus, you know, it's going to be a bit different if they have a hook. You want to always be ready to fight. That doesn't mean you have to fight, right? That's a big difference. But you always want to be in position to punish them if they make a mistake. The higher you climb, the more these very small micro instances are going to actually make or break if you can kill them later on. So, yeah. So this is a bard thing, right? If you pick up all your chimes at the start of the game, you're going to hit level 2 way faster than your ADC is. There was a chance where if you knew you were going to hit level 2 a bit faster, you would have walked here, you would have leveled up E, portal closer this way, and then you could have stunned the Milio to the wall, which then Jin would follow up, which might have gone River Splash, or at least a heal. When you're playing Bard, you have to be able to be very flexible in like how you move around, especially if you're going Spellbook, where like you have to take advantage of all these very small milliseconds of extra advantages. Okay, so do you know the tower timings? Do you know the timings for when you have to like auto the turret so it doesn't do damage? There's a practice for this where you go into custom game. The practice is you want to try to auto them and leave before the turret range hits you. That might be helpful too, but that's more really for ADCs. Like supports, you'll have spells, but the more things you know, the better. Okay, I'm glad you put that ward, but low-key, this is a good ward, but this is a bad time. This is a really good ward if you put it at like 215, maybe even like 220. It's a bad ward now because it's 237. And the reason why it's bad is because Vigo has like a 230-ish 3-camp clear. So if his goal was to gank bot, he would already have been bot by now. But that means because he's not actually bot yet, this ward is useless because it doesn't give us any info. Putting this ward here at like 220, 215 is good because then that confirms if he's ganking us. But by this time, because it's already past the time when he should have ganked us, means that we can assume that he's going topside. Unless he does 3-camp blue side start to like bot gank immediately, which nobody does. You can either assume that he's going to do 3 camps into top, or he's just full clearing, which at that point, then you need to ward for the 330 time. You have to infer that if someone shows up, you get info. But if someone doesn't show up, you also get info. It's like weird information game. Also, another thing. You should only go with the confidence to auto attack them for damage if you have Q up. Because then your auto attack plus Q is gonna out damage their auto attack, right? You also have Q up right now. Like I'm not sure why you just didn't use Q immediately. Because you're missing out on like very small amounts of damage. Do you know the back timings? Like do you know when you should back and when you shouldn't? The only rule is if you have a cannon wave. Like if a cannon wave is coming as you recall, it's good. Even if they immediately try to fast push back to your lane, the cannon is gonna be able to tank like what is it, 8 tower shots, right? At level 1. You have plenty of time to walk back without missing a single minion. Just know that it's once every 3 waves. Jin is doing this perfectly right, where he's getting the second wave and then recalling when the third wave with the cannon is coming. But you recalling here is not good. If you knew the timers, you would already be pushing this wave faster with the Jin, but you kind of wasted like 5 seconds just doing nothing. Okay, so alright, so here is another concept. The best time to go roam is actually right as your ADC is coming back to lane. Because number one, like grubs are going to spawn, so you just being here is really good at this time. And because you're Bard, you're going to get back to lane way faster than most other supports just because you have like E and you have chimes and stuff. Oh, I like I got scanner. Nice. Thank you. Also, is there a chime here? Even after the portal out of your base, try to gravitate towards mid. It's way better to be here and then go bot compared to if you're like here and then go bot anyways. The reason why you always want to be in like a central location before you make your choice is because something could happen mid in the time you're like here. Right now, you're not missing anything. Like nothing's happening in the lane anyways. So even if you're like 1 or 2 seconds faster to mid lane, if for example, during this time, the enemy jungler came to gank mid, you will be in a way better position to help out compared to if you just went this way and then had to walk the entire lane. There should be no world where you're walking like this unless you know there's going to be a tower dive like immediately. Right now, that's not the case. Nice. Nice pressure. Nice. Oh! No, auto them. Auto. Okay. Right now, you're focusing so much on dodging their skill shots that you're not weaving auto attack. But you gotta hit them. You can't just dodge everything. You gotta hit them back for it to be useful at all. Because right now, like, nothing happened. The best practice for this specific type of mechanic of like trying to dodge while also doing auto attack is playing ARAM, but you want to be in the front line in every single ARAM, like just outside your auto attack range, so that if the enemy does nothing, you can auto them back immediately. I'm glad that you're aggressive, but right now it's pointless aggression. Like, you have to know your limits as well. There's a fine line between griefing and limit testing. Like, you have to be able to know what your game plan is going to everything. Case 1, if you get hit by the skill shot, what's your plan? And number 2, if you dodge the skill shot, what's your plan? Always have some kind of mental process of what to do in each scenario. Because the fact that you didn't even try to go for an auto attack after you dodged it means that this is empty, right? Like, your to-do list after you dodge is completely empty. You have to keep reinforcing that notion so that at least you'll have some mental leeway of deciding what to do. You want to use situations like this where you didn't get an extra auto attack or an extra trade-off, and you want to learn from it. You want to sit down and go like, what could I have done there? Just keep asking yourself questions, because that's the only way you're going to learn. Also, small thing, it's way better to be separate just in general. Because like from their perspective, right, if you consider your zone of what you can do with your ADC, you're not covering any space. But if you were up here and Jim was down here, you're just taking up more space that the enemy has to worry out for. But if you're both in literally the same like plane, then they have less things to focus on. Never bunch up like this unless like you have nowhere else to go. Whoa, Jesus, what the? Oh my god, what the? Whatever gets the kill. Fine. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, same thing. The moment you got this kill, you should be immediately trying to go here. The fact that both of you went the same way is not good. Either Smolder's just gonna get out, you can just walk away. And also, like, there's a small chance that Viego's also here, right? So you just walking here would confirm that Viego's on the way, which means you can cancel the dive. But right now, you're kind of just going for the dive without any information over here as well. You want to make this guy feel claustrophobic. The same concept as earlier, where you want to make the enemy feel like they have less space because of where you are. Oh. Didn't you get this kill pretty easy? If you're gonna go for this dive, you want to tank the turret aggro, use all your spells, right? Use Q, and then portal here. The reason why I say here is because it gives you more time to perfectly time when the tower shot's gonna come for you, where you could have stayed in the range for like just that split second longer. And the more you play, the more you're gonna realize that that small like 0.2 seconds you could have stayed a bit longer would have led to somebody else dying or living.